So I'm using perspective clone. I controlled and clicked the area I want to clone. I'm going to drag it over, going this way. And then again a little bit further down. And you might ask why I choose to pick a color further down, or why I don't just do a giant brush. I like, with all things, going slow and gradually making the changes I need to make. I think, hold on, I'll actually show you a big brush. Like, you could, but I think it's excessive. See? And it's easier to get what you want with a smaller brush. Okay. You gotta be careful when doing long sweeps, because as you can see, if you do too long a sweep, you might break into another area, and especially because this is curved. The reason I work on a duplicate, you may wonder that too, is because if I took perspective clone up in here onto a blank layer, it's not going to know what I'm telling it to do. It has nothing to copy. See, even it's saying, what are you doing? See, there's nothing to copy. So with perspective clone, if I were just using color to, cover them up, which is what I'll probably do for that line right there, where there isn't very intricate design in it. Where there is intricate design, you're going to want to use, or I like using perspective clone. That way I can just take it and keep the design going. If I were just using color to correct something, I would just paint on a transparency. That way, if I don't like it, I can just take it away. But with this, because telling your brush what you're doing is so important, that I use just the duplicate copy. Again, small brushes are good, especially when there's a lot of detail that doesn't necessarily repeat. I just went into the wrong color again. Let's grab that. Okay, that color is, and this is me using, instead of just going, you can use airbrush control and click, and it'll suck up the color. Or you can actually just use the eyedropper. Do the same thing. You're gonna want, you see me click near my, or near the person. The reason I do that is because you want, even if there's a transition color from here to this point, you're gonna want to work that way. And I'll work this blue down, and where it starts to change a bit, I'll start bringing that blue up and blend them in the middle. Which sounds complicated, but I'll show you so that you'll know for the future. Easily corrected. And this is, as you can see, I'm doing it on the blank layer. Now we're going to select that. And see, if you try and select a color on a blank layer, you're going to get it to turn to black. So make sure you don't do that, where, live vicariously through my mistakes. And bring it down a bit more. See, and then I'd use the smudge tool to kind of blend those two colors together. When I use smudge, normally I try and bump it up to sometimes double what I originally started out with, but I'm going to go with 7 because it looks like it'll work well. And kind of does. but also I'm going to go in and blur this afterwards as well to make it glow together better. Okay. The floor should be fairly easy. Using the airbrush again, just matching the floor, following the angle so that I don't make it look too horrible. Pick up another color that's close to the feet, because you obviously see different variations of blue. So you're not going to want to keep painting with that one. It's obviously going to make it look like, you know, you went in there and hid something. Now I'm going to pick up that dark blue and bring that one through, or darker. This, as you can see, is going to make it more lengthy on your part because you're going in and fabricating what should be behind him, or what you can think is behind him. So you can still tell he's there, plus there's a big part of his arm still, but it's getting more and more to be something that if I just kind of touched up a bit more with like blur and smudge, you would barely even tell where he was. Okay, so I'm going to take blur and then a lot bigger. Yeah, that'll do. And just blend it in. Because I would blur this up anyway, because this is technically the background. But you can see that there's a difference now. Now I'm using blend to try and merge these colors together a bit to make them look like they run a bit smoother. Obviously, rate is going to make it blur a lot faster. To watch, especially where there's design. And that's how I try and make the depth a bit easier, at least on myself. So I don't want to blur her out, but I want the background to be the background. And that's pretty much how I do it. I use my blur at 100%, and I go in and blur up the background. And a lot of the editing is just sitting there and looking at what you like and just working. I like it. Try and cut it up a bit and then put it on YouTube for you guys to look at, because that question was posed to me by more than one person. How do you cover up a person? That's how, and this is actually a fairly complex one, and a lot of the time it won't be that difficult. But it's also, you gotta get in there and try it and see how you like it and what works best for you.